Do you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share with us? Send us an email with your story for a chance of it being featured on Weird World. In the late hours of Friday, November the 24th, 1978, in the southwestern region of Spain, an encounter would unfold that would become one of the most meticulously documented cases in Spanish UFO research. The incident occurred within an estate known as La Pizzana, approximately 3 kilometres southwest of the town of Gerena in the province of Seville. The site lay beneath the towns of Gerena, Asnocola and Olivares in a region characterised by its distinctive landscape, gentle rolling hills dotted with farmland, dense groves of eucalyptus trees and the ancient remains of a Roman aqueduct. The Gordillo River cut through the terrain, its banks thick with vegetation, while cattle grazed in the surrounding pastures. 5 hunters had ventured into the darkness that evening, each equipped with powerful 6-battery flashlights for their nighttime expedition. The night was dark but calm, with no wind and good visibility, despite the cloudy sky. The temperature was comfortable enough for extended outdoor activity. The encounter occurred within an exceptionally dense eucalyptus grove, where sporadic clearings broke up the thick vegetation. This location would later prove crucial for the subsequent investigation, as its particular layout and ground conditions would preserve evidence of the extraordinary events that would transpire. The night's events began to take an unusual turn when one member of the hunting party decided to return to their vehicle, leaving 4 hunters to continue their expedition. After wading across the Guadiana River, the remaining hunters, Manuel Gordillo, Francisco Lopez Rivero, and 2 others, one from the local Romani community, pressed deeper into the eucalyptus grove. At approximately 3:30 a.m., while following a path created by tractors through the dense vegetation, Manuel Gordillo's attention was drawn to what initially appeared to be red lights in the distance. One of his companions immediately reacted with concern, calling out, "Hey, what is that? What a strange thing!" The group's first rational explanation that they were observing the tail lights of a vehicle quickly proved inadequate. As Gordillo would later explain to investigators, the logic of this assumption fell apart as they approached. If it had been the back of a car, we should have seen different angles of it as we walked around, but it stayed completely red no matter where we moved. That wasn't logical. After crossing the river to investigate further, the hunters temporarily resumed their original purpose, momentarily forgetting the unusual lights in their enthusiasm for the hunt. The group became separated, with Gordillo finding himself alone among the trees. Unable to locate his companions visually, he turned off his flashlight and whistled for a response. The others signaled their positions with their flashlights and quickly regrouped, immediately drawing Gordillo's attention back to the mysterious light that remained visible in their vicinity. Despite the noticeable fear among his companions, Gordillo suggested a closer investigation, telling them, "Watch me from behind. I'm going to get a little closer." Francisco Lopez Rivero volunteered to accompany him, while the other 2 hunters maintained their position further back. The object appeared to be approximately 30 metres away from their position. Gordillo described it as round in shape, positioned very close to the ground. The structure featured multiple lights at different heights, reaching approximately 3 metres high and spanning 4 to 5 metres across. These lights displayed various colours, creating a distinctive visual signature in the darkness. From his position on the ground, Gordillo could observe what appeared to be a humanoid figure moving near the object. While vegetation obscured his full view of the entity, he noted that his legs were remarkably large. The being's movements were deliberate and slow, advancing about 10 metres towards their position before retreating. Gordillo recalled hearing distinct vocalization from the entity, describing them as resembling sounds made within a deep well. While he could discern what appeared to be shoes or boots on the figure, the backlighting from the object made it difficult to determine other details of its attire or appearance. Lopez Rivero, observing from a position slightly behind Gordillo, provided additional crucial details about both the object and its occupant. He described the craft as resembling a large round traditional clay pot turned upside down with a stationary red light at its apex. His account noted several rows of lights in various colours, green, orange, red and yellow, arranged around the centre of the object. Below these lights he observed what he described as bright-coloured silvery legs or supports. His description of the humanoid figure was particularly detailed. He noted what appeared to be a window-like opening at the height of where eyes and mouth would be, comparing it to the visor of a motorcyclist's helmet. The helmet portion appeared black or dark in colour, while the rest of the visible body was described as silvery. Lopez Rivero estimated the entity's height at 2 meters or more, noting its apparently robust build. Like Gordillo, he primarily observed the figure from the waist up and did not notice any visible arm. The encounter reached its climax when the entity was observed approaching the object and appearing to retrieve or manipulate something unseen to the witnesses. Neither Gordillo nor Lopez Rivero could discern any visible entrance or door in the craft, though Gordillo reported seeing the being either enter the object or move behind it. As the reality of this situation began to sink in, Gordillo recalled thinking of his wife and children, a moment of personal reflection that heightened his sense of vulnerability. The encounter concluded with the hunters' rapid retreat from the area, their earlier hunting intentions completely forgotten. In the haste to leave, they stumbled and fell over one another, highlighting the intensity of their fear and desire to distance themselves from what they had just witnessed. On Sunday, January the 14th, 1979, a team of investigators returned to the site. The group included J. Ignacio Alonso, Joaquin Matios Nogales, J. Antonio Gutierrez, Manuel Filippo Cabana, and Antonio Moya Chirpa, conducted a thorough examination with Francisco Lopez Rivero's assistance, though finding the exact spot proved challenging due to the dense vegetation. The investigation revealed that the alleged landing site displayed a distinctive circular pattern with the eucalyptus trees arranged in what investigators described as a curious geometric pattern. The ground itself, softened by recent rainfall, had preserved several significant impressions. The team discovered a remarkable footprint measuring 42 centimetres or 16.5 inches in length. Several metres away they found 2 additional prints of identical size. While such dimensions would be extraordinary, they fall just within the outer limits of documented human possibility. For comparison, the largest foot length ever recorded belonged to Robert Wadlow, the tallest person in recorded history, whose feet measured 18.5 inches. Through careful analysis, the investigators determined that the proportions of these prints would correspond to an individual approximately 2 meters and 10 centimeters tall, a towering height of 6 feet and 11 inches, well beyond normal human stature, but not unprecedented. During this follow-up investigation, Lopez Rivero provided additional details that enabled investigators Antonio Moya Chirpa to create detailed drawings of both the craft and its occupant. Lopez confirmed these illustrations as accurate representations of his experience, adding another layer of documentation to the encounter. The Gerena incident bears notable similarities to an earlier encounter that occurred in Baracaldo, Spain, on October the 29th, 1976 at 8:25 in the evening. In that case, 6 young men near the walled grounds of a cemetery reported hearing a loud crackling sound before witnessing an object approximately the size of a telephone booth descend near the cemetery wall. The Baracaldo witnesses described seeing an object landing on 3 leg-like protrusions, emitting both a green and red light. They reported observing 2 very tall humanoid figures emerging from a visible entrance that emanated a red light. These entities were described as wearing tight-fitting black suits with wide, brilliant belts and possessing brilliant flattened eyes, though no other facial features were discernible. The Baracaldo entities were observed manipulating an unknown device, described as long and thin, which projected a beam of light that changed from white to green. The Gerena incident stands as one of the most comprehensively documented close encounters in Spanish UFO history. The combination of multiple credible witnesses, physical evidence, and detailed follow-up investigation sets it apart from many similar reports. While the true nature of what Gordillo, Lopez, Rivero, and their companions encountered that November night remains unknown, their consistent testimonies have secured this incident's place in the history of ufology. The correlation with the earlier Baracaldo's incident suggests possible patterns in such encounters that merit further investigation and analysis.